So I was watching this movie called Outside the Wires. Stars Anthony Mackie and Damson Idris. Damson Idris is a drone pilot in the military, and he is supporting a skirmish that is happening somewhere in Eastern Europe. The soldiers there, they get pinned down, they call for assistance. But when he is about to launch the missile from his drone, two of the soldiers, they get shot and they go down. And they are too close to where he was going to drop the missile in. The sergeant, the officer in command at the place, lieutenant, he tells the drone operator, he tells Damson, he's like, no, wait, give me a few minutes. Let me get my men out. Let me save them. My whole troop is coming back. If you're gonna do what you're gonna do, I'm gonna take my whole platoon, my whole squadron. We coming back. Whatever the threat was, even though Damson was told to stand down by his superior officer, he violated that order and fired anyway. And when the missile got there, it destroyed the target and it saved the 38 other men, but it absolutely killed the 2 men. And when he was taken to trial, he had the hardest time understanding that even though there were 40 men to start with and he saved 38, that those 2 men were more than just collateral damage. They could have been saved. But he had never been on the front line. He had never been in a wartime situation. He was comfortable at home in his air-conditioned unit controlling the drone from halfway across the world. And he had to learn that there was a difference, not only in wartime, but in life, that everyone can't be collateral damage. Hello, Governor. This is Rekkai Steed, nupefromdaville. Supacell, Season 1, Episode 5, titled Rodney. We have gotten a good look at each one of our protagonists, I guess, and this episode deals with our speedster. Now, we left off at the end of Andre's episode with basically a standoff. All of our people, minus Michael, converged on the big house, the trap house, basically for different reasons. Taser and his people, they wanted to kill Crazy. Andre showed up to steal the safe and get some money to provide for his son. Charlene and Sabrina were there to basically, Charlene wanted to get some weed and see if Craig or Crazy was there, who's her ex-boo or her boo. And Rodney was there because that was where his partner Spud was summoned to sell some weed, but he did not know it was a trap. They were actually kind of looking for Rodney, but they got Spud instead, and they beat the brakes off of him. So all of our people show up in the same place at the same time. The fact is, Michael had come to Rodney about helping with the situation, even though he didn't tell him the full situation that he's trying to save Dion. He came to him about the situation and talked about how everyone could benefit, because he did save Rodney the day before, but it was only after they agreed to meet, and then Rodney got jumped by one of the hooded guys. So Rodney is super skeptical because it looked like a setup. They agree to meet with Andre through his partner. After Andre is pretty much kidnapped, looks like he's taken by the hooded people, Michael is frustrated and he goes home. Michael is frustrated. He wanted to tell Dion everything, but Rodney showed up to his house to tell him that he would help him, and that's when they went to go look for Andre. The problem is now Andre is missing. Michael and Rodney don't have a clear-cut plan on what is going on. Michael and Rodney show up to Sabrina's house to, help her and tell her Andre's been taken, you could be next. But Sabrina doesn't care about any of that right now because Charlene is missing. Craig was at the house. Crazy was at the house. They did the do. He had a couple chicks pull up in the G-Wagon to come get him. He said those his business associates. Charlene got extra jealous. Craig almost choked her out. Crazy almost choked her out. She goes after Craig in a robe and a butcher knife. And next thing we know, she's not to be seen again. Her cell phone is in the gutter. So Sabrina's going crazy looking for her sister. So Michael and Rodney agree to help her look for her, but they gotta try to go find Taser. It just so happens that at the moment, Taser is getting jumped by a couple of the hooded dudes. And one of them got the drop on him. He's dragging Taser to the portal, and Taser pulls out his old trusty blade, cuts the back of his leg, but then another one shows up. And when he throws a fireball or something like that at Taser, just so happens that the rest of our little group, Michael, Rodney, and Sabrina, show up, and Sabrina uses her powers to knock it away. So now we about to have a battle. Soups versus some other soups. The thing is, Rodney was not going to participate. He didn't want nothing to do with this. He was not going to participate at all until Spud got hurt. Lauren Eden once said that sometimes we're just a collateral damage in someone else's war with themselves. And that's what happened to Spud. Rodney was at war with himself. We learned that Rodney is mixed. He has a Caucasian mother, and she ditched him at some point. I don't know if he was an adult or how that happened, but apparently she found a new guy, but the new guy is racist, and he kept Rodney's sister, which is maybe his daughter, but Rodney's sister is also Caucasian, like the mother. Rodney's mom has a brand new family that does not include Rodney whatsoever. And that is a hurtful thing to do to your child, but really to anyone, that your family would carry on without you. Rodney himself became collateral damage in his mom's war with herself. Spud became collateral damage in Rodney's war with himself. His self-identity, his image, what he thought about himself. All of this got started because Michael went to the future and found out that Dion is going to end up being collateral damage in this war of the Supacell people. Taser's friend Tiny was collateral damage. Taser's granny was collateral damage. We have Charlene at this moment is collateral damage. We have so much going on with our heroes, or should I say protagonists, because we don't know if they're heroes or not. The one thing that Syntell and I agreed on was that Michael should have told Dion straight up at first. He should have been very honest and forthcoming with her. Should have been transparent. Because no man, or woman for that matter, can be prepared for collateral damage when they don't know what they're sacrificing. Dion's life is on the line. And it seems selfish. I understand sometimes you work with the best information you have, you do the best that you can. But it's also her life, and she should know what's at stake. One of the things that Supacell does show is it highlights sickle cell anemia, that trait within African American communities. It reminds me of another series that's going on right now, Star Wars: The Acolyte. The Acolyte has been all over the place, and some people like it, some people absolutely hate it, and they, say that that's the death knell for Star Wars. But one of the things it does highlight is that in Supacell, we have people who have sickle cell or have the trait who are being targeted. by this group of hooded menaces. In Acolyte, we have seen the Master, the Stranger, Khmer, and a coven of witches. And a lot of times, we are so fast to call the good guy when he may not actually be the good guy. And we learned in one of the episodes is that our Jedis were just as much guilty, and they were really the bad guy because of their actions and the choices that they made. But we're so used to hearing them be called the good guy that it was unfathomable to show them in this light. Even though we have many examples of Jedis falling, it's just that when they're shown falling before, they fall all the way out. And this, we show some that have made some highly questionable and unethical, morally ambiguous is not even the right word, because they're just plain wrong choices. Yet they stayed Jedis, and they covered up their filth and justified their actions. And sometimes we become so obsessed with punishing villainous characters that we forget that the collateral damage is actually experienced by marginalized groups like our coven of witches. And we shouldn't punish them for that, because if you go back to it, what did they do wrong? They were exiled, they were banished. They were on this planet that was supposedly desolate and barren and without life for 100 years, minding their business. A group of Jedi happens to come upon them. Yet they still didn't do anything with any real aggression. They were defending theirs. The Jedi actually, on more than one occasion, broke into their house with the intention of stealing their kids, or at least one of them. Yet the comments are rife with people justifying the Jedi's actions, and that is wild. Sometimes the choices that you make and the life that you lead will contribute to the people that you love the most. If they are near you, they can end up as collateral damage. That's not something that you want to explain. Rodney doesn't want to have to go to Spud's mother and tell her why he was killed. Right now, he's in a coma in the hospital, so we have to wait till the next episode to see how he pulls out, if he pulls out. When you have the opportunity to do something right, do it when you can. Do what you can, when you can, if you can. This is Rekkai Steve, nupefromdaville. Make sure you check the link in the description to see the reaction between Syntell and myself. Like, comment, share, and by all means subscribe. Use this, but you have to use this.